Hello, this is Nathan Morello for Professor Bigger on Monday, July 27, 2020. This is the week 4 midterm PowerPoint exercise. The Caritas process that appeals to me is I've identified Caritas process number 10 as the Caritas that appeals to me. Caritas number 10 states that allowance for existential, phenological, spiritual dimensions, and the Caritas processes includes opening and tending to mysterious dimension of one's life, death, soul care for self, and the one being cared for, allowing and being open to miracles. How appropriate is this Caritas process? Caritas number 10 is appropriate for me in that I've witnessed several deaths when I worked in the ER in Miami. I've also helped with hospice care for my grandfather for a year and then my grandmother for 6 months when prior to them passing away. In addition, as a qualified medical examiner for California, I've examined and taken the histories of hundreds of patients that have been involved in near-death industrial injuries. The foundational information about the Caritas process is that according to Watson, the phenomenon of the unknowns, which cannot be explained scientifically through the Western mind of modern medicine, this Caritas allows for mystery and philosophical, metaphysical aspects of human experiences and phenomena which do not conform to conventional views of science and rational thinking. Nevertheless, these unknowns are real to those affected, and that was Watson 2015. In addition, Watson 2015 stated that this Caritas allows for spiritual-filled meanings and unknowns to emerge open to infinite possibilities for miracles. This Caritas opens spiritual-filled meanings, cultural beliefs, myths, and metaphors, and intersubjective life world of nurse and patients and families, allowing cures and miraculous cures and healings. A clinical example of Caritas number 10 was when I was working at the ER in Miami. A guy came in total shock, unresponsive, and the police said that they had found him underneath a tree in South Beach with a bunch of empty alcohol bottles all around him. He had no ID, there were no witnesses, and he was declared a John Doe. We drew blood and urine, sent it off to the lab, and as we were waiting for the results, the guy woke up and started speaking in French. I had no idea what he was saying, but one of the nurses was from the Caribbean and she spoke French fluently, and so she was able to start interpreting for us. He stated that he was from Quebec, that he had taken a plane to Miami last week and was on vacation and staying at one of the hotels in South Beach, and he said this all in perfect French. However, he still did not know his name or which hotel he was staying at or if he was on vacation with anyone. The labs came back revealing that he had a severe thiamine deficiency and therefore he was diagnosed with possible Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. We started him on an IV with thiamine, and about halfway through the bag, the guy stopped speaking French, kind of shook himself off, and started speaking English with a very heavy Southern accent. He immediately knew his name. He had an apartment in Miami, and he worked as a cook in one of the restaurants in South Beach. After sort of figuring out where he was, he started crying and admitted that he was trying to commit suicide that day and that he had never expected to wake up. And according to Family Caregiver Alliance 2018, the disease of Wernicke-Korsakoff is characterized by mental confusion, amnesia, a permanent gap in memory, and impaired short-term memory. And I gave this example because it was a miracle that he was discovered when he was, and I'd never seen anyone act that way and have complete amnesia and speak a different language that he says he never knew. The second example was my best friend was diagnosed with testicular cancer when we were 21. By the time Kaiser diagnosed him, it had metastasized all over his body. At one point during his chemotherapy, his doctor had prescribed him belladonna as part of his pain medication regimen. And as you know, belladonna is a hallucinogenic. So he called me at 2 a.m., completely hallucinating. And at that point, I had very little training. I had gone to EMT school, but that was about it. And so I listened to him, and I'll never forget to this day his description of him walking down this spiraling dark tunnel towards a tiny light at the end. And he was just sitting in his room at his parents' house, and he couldn't get that image out of his head. Um, and he was scared. He kept talking about it and wanting to know if he should keep going towards the light or not. Um, at one point, he screamed, "Oh my God, it's so bright in here!" And there was a long pause as I was yelling at him, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And when he like waited about 5 minutes. And when he finally came back on the phone, he said, "I'm all right now." And then he hung up. So the next day I visited him, and there were all these sketches all over the room that he was drawing while he was talking to me. And he had no recollection of anything he said to me that night. He basically woke up and had no idea that there was all these drawings and that he had had that whole conversation with me. And to me, that was a miracle. To me, I don't know if he was like, I know he was in a dark place, but something happened to where it gave him hope and that he was able to kind of get out of that. The overall understanding of caring science is that in the current state of the world, everyone would be better off by reading and understanding Gene Watson's view on caring. According to Watson 2008, as a distinct discipline, it is necessary to acknowledge that nursing and caring reside within a humanitarian as well as a scientific matrix. Thus, there is an intersection among the arts, humanities, philosophy, science, and technology. The discipline encompasses a broad worldview that honors evolving humanity and an evolving universe that is full of wonder and unknowns, as well as known set expectations. And then I have my reference page. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.